This video was recorded using UK pound shop items. You may find similar stuff in your local bargain shop. Not all the items in this list cost £1 anymore, but they are still available cheap if you shop around. The intention of this video is to offer cheap alternatives for beginners. Professional grade items are without a doubt of better quality. Starting my list with number 10, we have a palette and a plastic tray. Don't need to tell you much about the palette. It's made for mixing paint and stuff like that, but the tray itself is very useful if you don't have a dedicated painting area, so you can carry your stuff around and don't mess up your furniture. Very handy. Number 9 in my list are these nail buffers. They are essentially a piece of sandpaper in a squeegee foam material. They come in different grades and different abrasive materials, and as you can see, they are very disposable. They wear very easily, so you just throw them away and buy new ones. As I said, I prefer to get these squeegee ones because it makes it easier to bend around the shapes. Number 8 are hand tools, and if you ever bought hand tools off the pound shop, you know they're rubbish, right? And they don't really serve much on a workshop or something, but for printing purposes and hobby purposes, they're quite good. So these are two examples. Number 6 socket. This goes well for changing your nozzle, and I printed a handy knob here and a set of pliers just to grab some stuff and filament. Number 7 are these plastic organizers. As you can see, I have a couple of them here. Keep my brushes well organized, some tools also for my printer. But this one is basically my painting set with all my brushes, some glue and some stuff. But you can put any sort of small items in here. And just let me grab a second one that I have here. This second one I always keep very next to my printer, where I keep all the spares, some useful tools. You see another set of pliers, a wire brush. So yeah, very nice way to keep things organized. Number 6 on my list are gloves, wipes and paper towels. During the pandemic, these items became much more expensive than they used to be, so pound shops are still a very good source for them, especially if you used to do resin print, so you know you consume these very fast. They're not like the best gloves, but it does the job, so good recommendation also. Next on the list are cleaning products. IPA also became a lot more expensive in the past couple of years, and to save a little bit of money, I use these products, especially glass cleaner and power degreasers, for the very first rinse of my resin prints before I dip them into IPA. I also like these trigger squirters that comes in the bottle, because you can just squirt the liquid and store them in a container like this. So you put the resin there, just squirt and keep the mess inside the container and reuse that later. It helps me saving a bit of IPA and keep it clean. Number 4 is this big tub of filler. It is a very useful material if you used to do statues and you need to fill the gaps or even fill the surfaces. It is very easy to apply, it dries very fast, and it's quite easy to sand. I cannot recommend this enough. As you can see, this tub lasts forever. It's very big for the amount that you use. It comes in these 750 grams, so more than recommended, this one. Coming to the top 3 of my list, blades, number 3. I do use them quite a lot. They come in different sizes, and you can buy the refills and stuff like that. So especially if you need to kind of trim a little bit of the prints or clean up, they're really useful. So very cheap, for £1 you can find these on. This is another set I use quite a lot. They are very cheap and break quite easily, but for £1 you just throw them away and buy a new one. They are very good for cleaning up the prints. These next pair of items, they draw some funny looks, especially if I'm not shopping with my wife. They're brushes and makeup. If you look around, you will find different shapes of brushes. They're very useful for detail pens, dry brushing for the thicker ones. So just browse around there, like hundreds of different options and qualities. They're always very cheap and useful. This one, for example, has a very sharp and flat tip. The makeup itself is very good for making shadows and highlights in your miniatures. They work very similar to dry pastels, so make sure you just brush them and seal after each of the layers. Number one of my list are acrylic paints. They are not like the best quality, but you can find some very decent tones like these metallic ones that I'm showing you here. I also pick these big tubes if I want to paint a base and I really don't need that very high quality. And if you look at my videos, I show you a hack that I put them on these dropper bottles, so just click on the link. They're very useful if you want to just to kind of go on a budget for paint. And combined with the tubes itself, you can also find these markers. They are, let's say, less messy than using the tubes and the brushes. So you just take the cap off, shake, and start drawing with the marker. I picked these two. They're very nice to add some metallic details like the sentinel head I'm doing here, the silver and the golden one. I gotta say, I cannot find them every time that I go on the shop. They seem to be a seasonal item, but yeah, keep browsing around and you should be able to pick some of these. Not only in this color, but you can see it shines quite a lot. Very good quality and dries quite fast. And I've added a bonus item here, which is probably the item that I use the most when I go to the pound shops. Rattle can primer and paint. So they're like automotive grade, they don't cost a pound anymore, and they are usually smaller than the big cans that you find in B&Q and hardware stores, but they're still very good quality and very cheap, especially if you just want to base coat a base or something. That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and click the subscribe button if you liked.